Yo, what's good? We back at it again. Black and brown boxing news. You know, first off, let me introduce myself. They call me Jay, not the letter J, by my government, J-A-Y, J. Here reporting for black and brown boxing news. Now, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time. And I'm sitting here just listening to videos like I normally would, depending on if I can sleep or not, but I'm gonna take this particular episode to talk about a set of fighters that have been grinding just like most. I'm talking about the Charlo twins. I'm gonna start off talking about Jermall at 154 pounds and what his future looks like, in my opinion. So, as we all know, he regained the title from Tony Harrison in the rematch. I'm not gonna lie, Tony Harrison is a better boxer than Jermall Charlo. He showed that, but he can beat Jermall Charlo when it comes to the power and showing his lack of focus and attention to finish the job. That's how he got caught. The first fight went as similar as the second fight, depending on what you're judging on, aggression, ring generalship, or whatever the criteria is for boxing. It's kind of a toss-up. Me personally, I never like to see the champion lose their title on the scorecards, but nonetheless, Tony Harrison won the first fight. It's in the record book. Chop it up. Jermall came back. Now, in the same token, the 154-pound division, we had our sights set on, even when his twin Jermall was at 154, you had the top junior middleweights or super welterweights, 154 pounds. You had the Charlo brothers, you had Demetrius Andre, you had Jarrett Hurd, you had J-Rock thrown in there, and that's just the name, top 5. So Jermall Charlo moved up to 160, and so did Andre. So that left Jermall, Jarrett Hurd, and J-Rock. Those were the two names that they were talking about fighting would be Jermall Charlo versus Jarrett Hurd. They both lost. Harrison beating Jermall Charlo, and Julian J-Rock Williams, who took a loss to Jermall's brother Jermall, defeated Jarrett Hurd. Then J-Rock turned around and loses to some kid a couple of weeks ago. I'm not gonna mess his name up. I believe his first name was JC Rosario. He lost to him. So now we have a whole different landscape at 154 pounds. All right. So I was listening to this guy who calls himself the Truth. I mean, and that's just his opinion. That's a strong statement, being that it seems like to me that I know I'm going to catch flack by my channel being named Black and Brown Boxing News. I'm going to give y'all a little backstory on why I chose to name my channel that. Because we've never been equally represented in any industry, media, or what have you. Whatever that you do, we always seem to be placed on the back burner. So let's move on to the middleweight division, which the king of catchweights, Canelo Alvarez, who fights whomever he wants at whatever weight he wants, goes up and down in weight, picking people who have been beaten several times over, and they give him all this clout because he has all these titles. Let's just be clear. Jermall Charlo is the middleweight champion of the world for the WBC organization. The last time I checked, that's the most prestigious of the titles. That's the one that every boxer clamors for. Not knocking the other organizations, but that WBC strap is the one that you want. Now, with that being said, the person that I was listening to, which I'm not bashing him, that's his opinion, but let's just state facts for what it is. He had Jermall Charlo ranked as the number 4 middleweight in the world, behind Canelo, which Canelo is Mexican, so I put him under that category as black and brown. But we all know what a whitewash is in the mainstream. If you're a black fighter and you're mainstream, They'll look the other way for you as well because you good for business. But let's talk boxing facts. How can you rate Canelo #1 and Charlo at #4 if Charlo was Canelo's mandatory? And he talks about him as if he's not done enough to earn a fight with him. What do you have to do? The man is beating everybody in that organization that they have put in his way in order to get a fight with you. What I can understand is, why does politics have to get in the way of boxing? If he's not a threat, or if you the real champion, fight him, beat him, and you move on. But I'm not ever gonna put, we're talking about the middleweight division. I ain't talking about all these second-rate weight classes that he's went to and fought people that was nowhere near the caliber of Jermall Charlo. Now, Canelo holds a belt, a franchise title at 160. Not a real belt. Sorry, it's not a real belt. That's like the 24/7 championship in WWE, or the, no disrespect to Jorge Masvidal, but the BMF belt. It's not a real thing. It's just a gimmick to keep him from having to satisfy his obligations as the full champion. If you ask me, him accepting the franchise title, you pretty much passing all your dirty work on to Jermall Charlo to do for you. Once again, people saying he hasn't fought anybody. Well, how is he supposed to fight anybody if the big names won't get in the ring with him? And they want to put Demetrius Andrade and Charlo in the ring together. Those are two undefeated black fighters that are respectively signed to different promotional companies that really have no desire to work with each other unless the money is right. But why not put Canelo in the ring with his mandatories and stop letting him go up and down in weight? Now, he has a title at 160, so they say, which is not real. 168, he has a secondary title. Not even a full champion, but they give him credit for being a 4-division champion, and he hasn't beat anybody at 168. He can fight David Benavidez, which is the WBC 168-pound champion. He can fight Caleb Sweet Hand Plants. Let me take the S off, but Caleb Sweet Hands ain't nothing to play with. And he's very white, but he fights with the style of a slick boxer. And he's someone that I'm definitely going to do a video about, because I got nothing but love and respect for Caleb Plant. Get in the ring with somebody like that. I guess if he calls you out at 168, you'll probably say he hasn't fought anyone either. So let's go to 175. Who did he beat? Sergey Ben Crushed Kovalev. Andre Ward beat him handily the second time. First fight up for debate. Not gonna lie. And I'm an Andre Ward fan. Not gonna lie. The first fight could have gone either way. Elder Alvarez crushed him. Now, he did come back and outbox him, but, I mean, you know, he got beat. It was no disputing that. So when are we gonna stop letting Canelo and all these other top name fighters duck and dodge their way through the ranks? If you are a champion, your job is to defend the championship. That's why I don't understand, and I'm not going to go into a tangent, but it's like, let's take Deontay Wilder for example. People think he's crazy for giving people rematches and stuff like that just by skating by, because I feel like at the end of the day, in his heart of hearts, he's prepared to take a loss if he has to. He does not contradict himself on stating the fact. I mean, you can go back to when he first won a title from Stavern. He said, and been saying, it's going to be one champion, one face, one name. And the name is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. But I digress. Back to the Charlos. People act like they just started boxing or something. These guys have been around for years, putting in work. I'm tired of hearing they haven't fought anybody. Now, I'm not gonna act like I know the ins and outs of the contracts and how things are negotiated. Andre had a terrible deal. Okay. But you're still a fighter, and you could have made these fights happen. We act like it's all about the promotional company. What about the 80s and the 90s? That's the era I grew up in. In the 80s and 90s, you had Bob Arum, Don King. Those were the two names that I was familiar with as a child, not really knowing a lot about it. They had fighters fight against each other all the time. Now, I'm pretty sure with some politics involved, but not like it is today. That's everybody's curtain that they can hide behind. Get the fuck out from behind the curtain and fight the people that you're supposed to fight. I don't want to see Andre versus Charlo right now. As they say, there's no money in that fight. So, Andre is a champion for the WBO. We all know that's the top-ranked DAZN title. Nobody wants that belt. Nobody. But if you got it, you got it. So, he needs to fight to meet in the middle with Charlo. Charlo has earned a fight. Jermall has earned a fight with Canelo 2 years ago. He's been the mandatory for 2 years. So instead of stripping him like they would anybody else, they create a new title and pass the title with all the responsibility over to the black fighter. That's not ironic to anybody that's listening to this video or is under the sound of my voice. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Now, going back to Jermall, we have an interesting dynamic change. So 154 in 2020 is about to heat up. I can't wait to see what's gonna formalize from all these losses that's been had, because there's a few rematches that's in order, and you know, I'm pretty sure we'll get that. But I want you to leave in the comments, like, subscribe, you know, hate, do whatever you want to do. But I want to know your opinion on what I'm speaking on, because it's not just me that's feeling this way. Black fighters always get shitted on when it comes to what's right. And rankings really don't exist when it comes to black fighters. Only if you have star power. But if you are a fighter that's doing it the right way, fighting your mandatories, getting them out the way, you know, answering challenges, not backing away from a challenge, training hard, staying in shape, always making weight, it seems like you get shitted on. So just let me know what you think. Jay out. Black and Brown Boxing News. We on to another one.